Hey there gang, Lauren here, the Gratitude Addict. Welcome to this episode of Gratefully Living My Chronic Life. I run a community on Facebook called Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. If you're not a member, please join us. We are waiting for you. You do not need to have a chronic physical condition to join us. You simply need to have some kind of life struggle, which is why I usually use pain in air quotes. Okay, that was so funny. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep that last part in. There's like 2 seconds. My video all of a sudden stopped. But before it stopped, it like flipped around. I'm using this new gizmo. It's called a gimbal stabilizer. Honestly, I'm not sure what it's supposed to do. I think it's supposed to make my life easier, but it's making my life more difficult. But what happened is the phone went from this landscape mode, it flipped around to portrait, and then it turned off, or so I thought, and something flew out of my mouth that was very ungratitude-like. So I may see if I'm like able to do video well enough where I can keep it in and bleep it so I don't actually show it. Otherwise I'll have to cut it completely out. But it's just so authentic, me like all of a sudden going from shiny happy to blah blah. So, and it's so funny. I think you guys will like it. So where did I leave off? I used pain in air quotes. So join my group. Please join my community, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. So we were talking about acceptance. I wanted to share with you about acceptance. It's really, I would go out on a limb and say it's the number one, not complaint, but item on people's wish list that are in AOG, that they just yearn to come to a place of acceptance with their condition. And of course, who wouldn't want to come to a place of acceptance? I mean, it's a tough thing. It's a tough pill to swallow, pun sort of intended there. It's tough. I mean, who wants to admit that you live with this, chronic struggle of some kind, whether it's illness or PTSD, depression, autoimmune disorder, injury, whatever it is? Who wants to admit that? And there's something about saying it out loud that makes it feel very real and makes it often feel like, this is me saying this is my reality. And I think a lot of people also are under the false pretense that if you admit it and you come to a place of acceptance, that equals giving up. And it doesn't. Actually, just the opposite. I found that acceptance frees me up to live with more joy and purpose in my life. My life, live, whatever. So I found just the opposite, that when I came to a place of acceptance and I let go of the things that are outside of my control, which honestly is most things, as much as I hate to admit that because I'm a control freak, but it really is most things. But by coming to a place of acceptance, I have been able to open my mind and free my very precious energy to focus on the things that I can control. And what I can control is my attitude and how I react to any given situation. I was getting into trouble years ago with everything that I tried to control and every failed attempt at controlling my condition or the outcome of situations. I feel like it kept chipping away at my soul more and more each time, which inevitably brought me down a very dark hole that led to, alcoholism and self-destructive behavior. And really just, I gave up more that way, which is kind of ironic. I talk a lot about letting go and acceptance, but really it was more letting go the other time. I gave up. So I'm like, I can't control things. I don't want to live with this. I didn't want to die, but I did not want to continue living in this body, whatever that means. I just gave up. So I stopped trying to take care of myself and I stopped trying to be happy. And that's not a way to live. God willing, I have a lot of time left in me, and you too. So it doesn't have to be game over when you're diagnosed with a chronic condition. or injured, or whatever your issue is. We just have to kind of reframe things and change the way we look at them. And acceptance is one of those things. Now, acceptance does not mean that you are resorting yourself to living with this situation or condition forever. Not at all. It's just accepting the way things are right now. Because the past we cannot change as much as we may want to at times. And the future, we honestly don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. We can't will it to happen. We can't will things to happen. We can hope, and I will never lose hope. And that's the other thing with acceptance. I think a lot of people feel like it makes them hopeless. And I think just the opposite. I feel that acceptance gives me hope. Hope for a brighter tomorrow, and hope for a future that, while it may not be the future that I originally envisioned for myself, it's a good future, at least. But I hope for that, because I have lived beautiful moments since living with chronic pain, especially over the past 9 years, since bringing gratitude into my life, along with connection and community with my group. I have hope. I have hope for a brighter tomorrow, and there are dark moments for sure still. I mean, I still live with chronic pain, but I do have hope because I have seen glimmers of beautiful hope in my life. So acceptance does not mean to give up hope. Another reason why we don't want to accept our situations as they are, besides the fact that it hurts, and who wants to hurt? Nobody. Pain is not easy to deal with at all, and it can prevent us from doing things that we used to do. It can prevent us from, doing perhaps occupations or hobbies that we used to love. Our life can really change. So often, we find ourselves just resisting things, and we think that by resisting it, it's going to make it untrue. But that's not the case. I mean, ask yourself, when you resist your situation, what good does that bring you? It may feel better for maybe 15 seconds to swear like I did earlier and resist your reality. You deserve that. We all deserve pity parties once in a while. It's not fair. You can say it's not fair, and you're right. It is not fair. It's not fair. But ask yourself what repeating that in your head, what saying this is not fair gets you. Does it help you? It doesn't for me. It doesn't. In fact, it really just prevents me from moving forward and growing in a growth mindset. Resisting, just saying, I'm not going to do this. I don't like this. This isn't fair. I don't like having pain. Really serves zero purpose. And if we want to be happy, that's not the way to do it. It's just not the way to do it. How can we do it? Well, we can try to accept things. Now, that can be easier said than done, and that's really the issue that I hear from people in my communities. How can I come to a place of acceptance? And it's not easy. It comes over time. I like to think of chronic pain and illness, or whatever your situation is. It's a loss. It is grieving. It's grieving a life that we once had. So you have to go through those stages of grief, which are, let me see if I can remember these. They're bargaining, anger, depression. Acceptance, I know, is the last one. Bargaining, denial, that may be it. I'm getting some of them in there, but honestly, we go through those stages of grief, and rightfully so. We are grieving a life that we once had. We need to go through those, and we alternate through those at various times. They don't always go in order, and we can think that we're done with it, and they can come back with a vengeance for sure. So we can walk through those stages of grief and do that at various times. But then we need to move forward, at least if you're ready to. Now, I often say this, that people don't join my group, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain, the minute they get diagnosed with something. Normally, people that join my community have been dealing with their issue or chronic pain for a long time generally, and they've been through the ringer, and you guys know who I'm talking about. You've lived with this for a long time. You've tried everything, and maybe some things worked for you and maybe some things didn't. But now you're ready to find happiness in your life, and it's a happiness that you deserve. It's a happiness that we all deserve. Who doesn't want that? And why is nobody talking about how to deal with the emotional aspects of living with chronic pain? I don't know, but I am. And that's something that I love to do. It's my mission and life's purpose, and I hope that I can help start the conversation for other people to do so, because we need it. 1 in 5 people in the world live with a chronic pain condition. That's 1 in 5 people, 20% of our population. And nobody is talking about this, nobody. So I come to you, for whatever it's worth. I come to you with what I found that works for me. I am not a doctor or a therapist, but I do run the group, and I have for 8 years, and I am a student of the human experience, and I love to study this stuff. So I'm a PhD. Gosh, I made up this silly joke years ago. I forgot about it until recently. I say that I'm a PhD. Pretty happy, darn it. I don't think darn it was actually the right word, but isn't that corny? I just found that in notes really recently, and I'm like, you're so silly. But hey, pretty happy, darn it, or damn it. So I'm a PhD, but all right, let's get down to business here. How can I come to a place of acceptance? Well, honestly, now the group is free, so while it sounds like I am totally like putting an ad in here, I'm not. Join my group or a community. Join a community of like-minded people. My group is Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. Please join us, or find a community. Talk to others who live with chronic conditions. But the key here is not spending all of your time with people who sit around complaining all the time. You can listen, you can vent yourself, you can listen to others venting, you can hold space for those who really need you to listen. And that's incredibly important and a beautiful way to live life. Don't spend all of your time with people who all they do is complain, or people who complain, and if you offer them a solution, want nothing to do with it. They just want to complain about the same things over and over. I don't think for most people, at least not for me, that this is a healthy way to get out of our pain and to come to a place of acceptance, because we get the case of the me toos, me too, and it's just not, it's good in small doses, let's put it that way. But find a community of people who, if you want to live a positive life, hang out with people who live a positive life, or at least are trying. That's really important. A technique that I learned when I was a inpatient at the Chronic Pain and Recovery Program at Silver Hill Hospital back in 2013, after my alcohol rock bottom of a DUI, where thankfully I did not kill or hurt anyone, and I'm obviously still alive to tell about it. But I was inpatient there for 30 days in their what was once a pain program, which unfortunately does not exist any longer. One of the things they had us do, which I recommend to a lot of people, write a letter to your pain, whatever your pain looks like. If it's trauma, write a letter to your trauma. If it's grief through a significant loss in your life, write a letter to your grief. If it's a chronic pain condition, write a letter to your pain. Whatever your pain looks like, whatever you identify for yourself as pain, write a letter to it from you. Spend time doing it and see what voice you take on when you're writing to your pain. It's really interesting, and it may sound silly, but I guarantee you, your eyes will be open. And I do, if you've done this before, and I do recommend it a lot to people in my group and through my live broadcast on Thursday nights, do it again. I do it periodically because my pain, my vision of my pain takes on different different tones all the time, depending on where I'm at on any given day, depending on my pain levels and all that, and depending on how far along I am in my recovery from the debilitation of chronic pain and illness. Once you've done that, flip it around. Write a letter from your pain back to you. Here's what I found 13 years ago. No, back in 2013, 9 years ago. I was still at rehab, still very raw from, detoxing from alcohol and being humiliated and miserable and feeling like my life was over as I knew it. So I was not grateful at all. I was grateful that I didn't kill anybody, thank God. I was so grateful for that. And honestly, that's the basis for all of my gratitude. On any given day, I can look back on that day and I can be grateful for anything, no matter how much pain I'm in. But anyway, so write a letter back from your pain to you. So my pain took on a very different voice than I expected it to take on. It was almost, I don't know what the right word would be to describe it. It was kind, which I wasn't expecting. You think of your pain as like this ugly monster. It was kind. My pain was kind. And I wasn't expecting all this to come out. My pain was telling me that it was a part of me and that it wanted to work with me. Sound corny? Maybe. It worked for me, and 9 years later, it still is very eye-opening for me to know that my pain took on that voice. Try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised as to what happens, and I think it will open your eyes and perhaps help you to develop a different relationship with your pain. Another great tool you can use is journaling, which I know is very well promoted across the board, especially with other gratitude spreaders. I'm a big proponent of gratitude journaling, and while I do believe in that for gratitude, absolutely, perhaps think of journaling aspects of your life that you don't normally. Now, in the group, in Attitude of Gratitude, did I say crapitude? I almost said crapitude. In Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain, we have various posts that we share throughout the day, the moderators and I, to help you to look forward towards your life about what doesn't hurt in your life and what isn't bad in your life. The first one we do is an intention post in the morning. We set daily intentions, and the purpose of that is sort of like I often say, it's a loose roadmap for the day written in pencil. So it's unlike goals where if you're not able to meet them, you kind of resent yourself and say, oh, I should have been able to do that. Let me try to get out of the sun here. If I move this, I wonder what's going to happen because, yeah. All right, that's sun over there. Let's go down this way and see what happens. Yeah, nope, sun and eyes. All right, we're going to get up and move here. Let's see if this thing works. All right, let's go to, oh, this is nice. Okay, let's go back here. Intentions. So setting intentions helps you to, now I'm going downhill. All right, let's get here. Here we go. We'll get this thing. But you know what? If I wasn't a hot mess, it wouldn't really be me. So there you go. This is authentically me. Hot mess, and hot mess who tries really hard. Or somebody, with my friend Jill, we often say hot mess day instead of namaste. Where was I? Talking about, intentions, setting a daily intention. So these are things you can put in your journal, tools that you can use to help you to come to a place of acceptance. Of course, you can join the group, and I hope you do, AOG, where we share these things each day, and you can do them in the group. It's also optional, so you don't have to. But if you want to create a journal, if you don't want to join the group, create a journal. Start with setting your daily intention for the day. What do you intend to do today? It's a lot better than just going about the day loosey-goosey because I'm in pain and I don't know what I'm going to do, so it's much easier to just not plan anything. And that's not true, at least not for me. I find that at least having a loose roadmap that, is written in pencil, because my condition in half an hour is going to be a lot different than what, it was when I set that intention. It really gives you flexibility to not do it and not set up a resentment against yourself if you're not able to. So in this journal, set a daily intention. The next thing we post in the group each afternoon after lunchtime, East Coast time, is Linda Edwards, who's my senior moderator. She will post a question of the day. And they're always, always, always gratitude and positive based questions. They are focused on the life we have, our wonderful qualities, fun things like, favorite movies, things that are really good in our life. We never focus on things we've lost. We never focus on abilities that we've lost. It's always positive based. So, you can find a website if you, join the group, of course, but you can find a website. Actually, come to think of it, my new book coming out in September is a daily positive based question book, which I'll share about soon. But yeah, you can wait till September and buy my book. So there's that. And then we do a daily, I call it a breath break. It's really a short meditation. I post a different exercise from YouTube each day. If you can find that, just some short intentional breathing can really help us to recenter our lives. It only has to last 1 minute, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. But setting those daily, doing intentional breathing, deep inhalations and exhalations really helps us to really shift our perspective, put things back into perspective. We often find that we're all hunched up, our fists are clenched, our jaws clenched, we're really breathing shallowly. That is not helpful for our stress levels or, to sort of regroup and refocus. And I need to, buggy, woo. I often need to regroup many times a day, so that is helpful. That's not necessarily something you would put in the journal, but you could keep a log in your journal about when you do it. Set an intention to do it a couple times a week. If you can do it every day, that's great, but a couple times a week is helpful. One of the things that I highly recommend towards the end of the day, we do a post, 3 things you did well today. And it can be anything. It can be, I brushed my teeth, I returned a phone call, and I rebooted, or sat on the couch and Netflixed and rested. These reboot days are really, really important. So 3 things you did well is so much better than at the end of the day saying, I really meant to take the dog for a walk. I really meant to get the mail that's been sitting in the mailbox for 3 days. I should have done this. That is not helpful. That is not helpful at all. It makes us resent ourselves and really prevents us from coming to that place of acceptance. There are so many good things that happen in our lives that we can focus on. And the more we practice all of this, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the easier we can find a place of acceptance. I already touched a little bit on community, and I know I keep singing the praises of my group, but connecting with others, I often say that gratitude paired with connection is the secret sauce to a life of joy and meaning while living with chronic pain and illness. Gratitude is wonderful, and look, I'm a gratitude gangsta, so you won't find a bigger cheerleader for gratitude than me. But there's a piece of it that is incomplete, I believe, unless you incorporate it with connection with others. We can write in a gratitude journal, we can, do all of the things that the experts recommend. But when we are sharing our gratitude with others, at least one other person, connecting with somebody else, studies show that it makes it much, much, much more powerful. And that is why I believe a group like mine is a place you want to go. Even if you don't, contribute in the group, but read things, it's still connecting with others. Knowing that you're not alone is really important, because it's those places of isolation that start to lie to us, thinking that we're alone in our thoughts, we're alone in our feelings, we're the only ones that understand this kind of pain. Nobody understands me, I'll never get better. Things like this narrative is not helpful at all for healing, but also coming to a place of acceptance. Even though in my group we don't talk specifics about our conditions, we just kind of have an underlying umbrella. These bugs are making me crazy. Happy June. Wait till July and August, friends. It's going to get really bad. Especially if I'm sitting in the grass. I don't know. It's going to be tough getting up here, boy. I thought it'd be like all fun and naturey, but man, getting up is going to be trouble. We shall see it. Maybe I'll videotape it. Ugh. All right. Maybe I should not sit down here in the grass. It was awfully pretty, though. I think it's just actually a housefly outside for some reason. Okay. Where was I? Even if you don't actually contribute in the group, if you're reading things, you can take what we post in there, put it in a journal yourself, and it will be helpful for you. Oh, and connecting with others. Even though we don't talk about the specifics of our conditions, we have an umbrella kind of understanding, knowing, okay, you're in pain, I'm in pain. We're just going to pretend we're all in the same amount of pain. Now what? It's a lot more helpful than comparing our situations to others, because comparison, I say this all the time, it's a famous quote by Theodore Roosevelt, that comparison is the thief of joy. And it is true, because we can share openly and, share our hearts saying, I'm not having an easy time of it right now. You can post that in other groups and somebody can be like, well, you're lucky. You've only got that because I've got that. That's not helpful. It's not helpful. Or on the flip side, saying, why is that person complaining? Because I'm much worse than them. Not helpful. Not helpful at all. So we take it off the table. We don't discuss it. And we just have an underlying understanding that you know what I'm going through. I know what I'm going through. I know what you're going through. Where do we go from here? How can we be happy? Just the knowing that you're in a group with over 9,000 others who are trying to live their best lives with chronic pain and illness, or chronic condition, trauma, depression, anxiety, some kind of issue, is such a relief. And it takes us out of those natural feelings of isolation and not feeling understood and heard and worthy and cherished. And you are all of those things. We are all of those things. We are worthy of a good life. And regardless of whether or not you can empty the dishwasher today, or do the dishes in the sink, or take a shower, or brush your teeth, don't get angry with yourself. You are worthy of a beautiful life. We just need to learn how to respond differently to it. And that, my friends, is something that is within our control. Acceptance is within our control if we are willing to put the work in to achieving it. Don't get upset when you cannot achieve acceptance in the time frame where you think you should be reaching a place of acceptance. That's not helpful either. We're all a work in progress. And somebody in the group, I think it may have been during my good night post in the group last night, said something along the lines of that she wished that she was in a place of acceptance like I am. And it was a very nice compliment, and it kind of broke my heart. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, that may have been the spark that set forth on my want to share an episode on acceptance with you all today. But please, my friends, do not get me wrong. I have to come to a place of acceptance every single day. Every day when I wake up in the morning, and I wake up very sore. When I get up from this ground and I'm in pain, I'm going to have to come to a place of acceptance. So please, I do not have it all together, but I am a work in progress. I try really hard because I've lived the dark life. I've lived through those dark days, and I am desperate and willing and open-minded with a growth mindset and willing to try anything. And that is what I hope to provide you all with. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you have tricks on how you come to a place of acceptance with your condition that perhaps I've forgotten to mention, please leave it in the comments below. I've recently started an account with a company called Patreon, which you may have seen on other YouTubers. I do not charge for the work I do in an attitude of gratitude with chronic pain, my weekly live broadcast, Gratefully Living the Chronic Life, this new vlog. I don't charge for anything. I get paid a flat fee for my books, so I don't get charged, or I don't get paid for book sales, which is just fine with me. But if you like what I have to share and would like to contribute to what I do and would like to see more content from me, I have a Patreon account. I'm going to link that in the what do you call it? The show notes, I guess is what they call it. I'll get all these terms eventually. If you would like to donate to my cause, it helps me to offset shipping costs for prizes I give out, the prizes themselves, graphic software, YouTube channel, all of these things I use to help you live a grateful life despite living with a chronic condition. It would be very helpful if you could help me out and donate via Patreon. So it's patreon.com/gratitudeaddict. But again, I will leave it in the show notes. And finally, speaking again about monetizing, I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, Gratitude Addict. When I reach 1,000 subscribers, I can start to monetize it and perhaps make some money off of it, which again would be helpful to help offset the costs that I incur by doing all of this. Now, I've been doing it for 8 years very happily and very willingly as a volunteer, and I will continue to do that. Please do not get me wrong. This was my choice. Nobody is making me do this. I'm happy to. But any little bit can help to help offset the costs. So if you can please hit the subscribe button. And then if you hit the little bell, I think there's a bell next to the subscribe button, you will get notified of any future posts that I put up, any future video blog posts. So please hit subscribe. I always get it the wrong direction. I think it's actually this direction. Hit subscribe, click the bell, and please let me know how you're enjoying these vlog posts so far. Thank you for bearing with me through the early days of this. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you can come to a place of acceptance soon. And please join my community, Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. We would love to have you. We are waiting for you. Peace and love. Get your gratitude on. Bye, gang.